What started off as a journey to make money and provide for my family has evolved into a purpose with a passion. I quickly realized that the real value is not in the cars that I sell or the money I can make. The real assets are my clients. And the ultimate value that I find is in the relationships that I'm able to create. This is Vet Adventures, and together, we all win.
My point of view is people are the most important thing.
You're a great sport, man. You're awesome.
Your word is more important than any written piece of paper.
You always want to be a person that can dream and imagine and believe that you can be.
Do what you love to do.
It's a calling, it's not a job. You know how to put the work down.
Today we're here in New Jersey interviewing a great client and dear friend of mine whose love for cars is eclipsed by his love for life and the people he gets to share it with.
No different than I am. Those guys love the cars, but I love you guys and appreciate it. Yeah?
The one and only James Miranda. James and I have known each other since 2017, and since then, we've done almost $5 million in car sales. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. Today we have a very special guest, a great friend, a great client of mine who I've known for the past 6 years, the one and only James Miranda. We're here at his home in beautiful New Jersey. James, thank you so much for being here.
You're welcome.
Get that special
Thank
handshake.
you
Can you
very
explain this handshake?
Actually, it was my cousins and I used to do this years and years ago, and it was just family.
Yeah, just a family
So,
thing.
but it was such a nice thing, and of course, it's you're intertwining your fingers with somebody more so than just a grip. And the
So it
most
means
important
more.
thing is if you let go, I still can hold you. If you were hanging off a cliff
Yeah.
and you let go, I can still hold you by your fingers.
I love that.
Your fingers may be stretched, but I'll still hold on to you.
I love that. So this means we're family, right?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Awesome.
Absolutely.
Well, you, how old are you, James?
70.
70 years old. You've been around the block a few times, a couple trips around the sun.
A dozen times.
I love most about you is you are filled with life, you're filled with wisdom, you smile all the time, you light up the room when you walk in, you have a beautiful, great big family. You guys are always welcoming me when I come here. We do a lot of business together, which I love and I appreciate. First and foremost, I want to just thank you so much for our friendship, your mentorship to me, and giving me the opportunity to, do business with you and have this relationship with you. So.
Well, I want to thank you for the opportunity to share. Anything I have that's worth anything. That's the most important thing, is to be able to share that, because you can't take anything that you have here with you. And the most important thing is to have people that exemplify and demonstrate a love and a warmth and appreciation. And that's what you have in life. It's the only thing you have is your ability to share your soul, your essence, your understanding, your principles, your character with somebody. And if you can show that love, that's more valuable than anything else there is.
Awesome.
Honestly.
Very true.
Honestly
Very
speaking.
true. Excellent. You were born in New York City. You faced some serious adversity as soon as you were born.
Yeah.
Can you talk about how that adversity and what you experienced at birth kind of helped lead you to this path of life and perception of life?
I was born in Greenpoint, Brooklyn. And I was a breech baby, so I was born with one leg out and one leg and body in. So it took a long time to get me out. As a result, I was almost a stillborn. I was stillborn. It took about 20 minutes to get me alive and to help me breathe, because I was filled with all the mucus from the canal. It was very difficult. And perhaps that primal experience, that first experience in life, the struggle to survive, was my primal experience being born. And as a result of that, and of course being raised with, my mother was one of 11 children. Half the family was deaf. They couldn't hear, you know, and as a result of that, and my mother had me at 16, so it put me as one of the brothers of her family,
Right.
as opposed to a grandson or a nephew. So I had uncles that were 3 years older than me, 7 years older than me, 10 years older than me, you know, on and on and on. But I became part of the family with respect to the fact that I loved them, and I recognized that they couldn't hear. They couldn't express themselves. They couldn't hear a woman say, "I love you." They couldn't hear music. They could feel, but they couldn't hear. And you know, you watch a movie, and I would interpret for them because I know sign language. But I felt that loss, the fact that they had a sense that was missing. They didn't know it, but I knew it, and I felt it. And of course, I would sympathize and recognize that loss. And as a result of that influence, perhaps, and also having a very grateful appreciation for life. And the fact that I could just simply hear, just that simple thing, that one thing, it made me very appreciative, very grateful. And, you know, it enabled me to just appreciate all the gifts of life, because some people aren't even born with things that we have. And with that, I always looked upon existence and life as a great gift. Just being born and being able to survive and move around, and the fact that I can hear and see and taste. Now, that's a gift unto itself. That's something that people should appreciate. And if you do have that appreciation, everything that you can do with that which was given to you and God gave to you, it should be maximized to its fullest. You should appreciate everything that you have, everything that you see. Every quality and attribute your body has and God's given to you, you should make the most of it and not sulk and moan and groan. Listen, if you don't like a situation, then make a change.
Right.
Make a change, that's all. You don't complain about it. Make a change about it. And approach it, the fact that it's an opportunity. You know, people look at things as, you know, they're victims. Things happen to them. You know, I didn't have, you know, my uncles, for example, some of them that are deaf, you know, they have attitudes about, you know, I was not given, you know, given ears or, you know, the ability to hear. Why did God do this to me? And that's an approach, that's a victim's mentality. Things happen to you or things happen for you. Okay, so if you understand that everything that happens to you, if you're alive dealing with it, is an opportunity for you to better yourself, to improve, to circumnavigate the issues and difficulties and vicissitudes and tribulations. Those are opportunities for you to improve and to grow. And of course, utilize that for your future and to continually move on. And then pass that along to somebody. The fact that, you know, you can. You can. It's not that you can't. You can. Because we're always right. If you believe you can't, you're right. And if you believe you can, you're right. So why not have that positive perspective?
I love that.
You know, and things happen for you. Always, if you have that grateful attitude.
Right, 100%.
If you want to complain and make everybody else the reason why you're not successful, well,
Yeah.
there's a billion reasons why you're not successful.
Right.
But the right attitude, that one right attitude that you carry with you always, is the reason why you will be successful appreciating life. With the right attitude.
I love that. It's so true. One of a popular mentor of a lot of people that I know and follow, and who's a public figure on the internet, Ed Milet, he always says, life happens for you, not to you.
Oh, really?
And it's you know, it's a character trait. It's an understanding that I think a lot of successful people have.
Yeah.
You're always going to face adversity in life,
Yeah.
and what are you going to do? You can either say, "Oh, this sucks," and have the victim mentality, which is kind of a problem in our culture in today's society,
Yeah.
or you can have, you know, an attitude of, I'm going to overcome this. This is going to make me better, and I'm going to learn and grow from this. So
Yeah.
it's beautiful to hear you say that.
Yeah.
And clearly, you know, you've had a deep appreciation and lots of gratitude for life and the gifts that you have from an early age. So that's really, really awesome to see that you were able to pick that up from your family and apply that through your life. How important is family to you? 'Cause you have a beautiful, big family. I love walking in your house and seeing all your grandkids. I mean, that's how I envision my future with my kids and grandkids. I want everybody there. I mean, it's got to feel awesome. You know, what is family to you?
Well, family is, it's, family. Family is what you are. That emerges from, of course, your genes, and you and your mate, your wife. Well, I have a wonderful wife, Donna. I've been with her for 50 years, or 55 years now. But your family is truly, truly, and family is not limited to just the paternal the offshoot of your passions. Family is that which you relate to and you want to extend your life to, and give all your insight and all your understanding to. So family unto itself truly is the family of humanity, really, because there are people that have children and they don't get along. There are people that have uncles and aunts and they don't speak.
Right.
And the fact, by virtue of the fact that they have the same name, doesn't necessarily bequeath to that individual all of the privileges. It's an attitude. It's an attitudinal thing. And I can only be in control to a limited extent of my emotions and my feelings. So family is really a very, very subjectively passionate thing relative to my understanding of that which means something to me. And it applies to many, many people that I know, that I consider really close to me, because they're receptive. They love life. They appreciate that they're here. And of course, so in that respect, I have an enormous family of people that I love and respect.
For sure.
Of course, as it gets closer and closer, blood has a different essence, of love, of compassion and understanding.
Right.
That goes beyond just words. And of course, it's everything you have. But if you understand the fact that what you're given is the ability to see what we're seeing now, to be able to speak and express ourselves as we're doing right now, and to be able to ruminate and to concentrate about and or expound upon the realities of having all of this in your life, you're given so many blessings that you should just be bursting with love and appreciation for the fact that you're here.
Right.
Because it's not forever.
That's right. Life is a gift.
So family is really important. It's just, it's really trusting, believing, understanding, and loving those and that situation that you're exposed to.
Yeah, it doesn't need to necessarily be blood. I like how you said it's an attitude thing.
Because blood itself, no, listen, coming from a big, big family, my mother's one of 11, there are people that don't speak to each other.
Right, and same in my family. I don't speak to a lot of them.
Yeah,
it just happens, I guess.
But the family understanding is that if that was a specific thing, that's a privilege. To have a family is a privilege. Have children is a privilege. Have a mother and father is a privilege. But really what that means is that you're sharing a love that should not be breached or betrayed.
Right.
However, you can have that with a lot of people. You can have that because really it emanates from you. It's what you generate and give to people, what you see in people.
Yeah.
And again, my mother used to say, you can't kick every stone. And the concept is that if you look for problems and issues and look to complain or bemoan a circumstance, you can do that with everything. But if you look to find the good in a situation, you'll find that too.
For sure.
So I think looking for something good gives you a better outcome. Because you'll find the crap if you look for it long enough.
For every negative, there's definitely a positive, and you might not be able to see it as soon as it happens, but...
Well, there's happening for you as opposed to you.
Exactly.
Because you're looking to say, I can work this through. I can find a way. There's a way over, around, under, through. But I'm gonna say, listen, this is another opportunity to make it work.
Right.
And it does. I mean, Thomas Edison exemplified that with his thousands upon thousands of files of failures.
So
but
true.
it's only then did he find that he was that much closer to so many successes.
The one. Love it.
Yeah, that's it.
You're definitely somebody who's clearly in great shape for your age. You definitely would not be able to tell that you're 70 years old. You're somebody who I think aspires to always be as sharp as they can, mentally, physically, spiritually. Yeah. What's your keys to health? What's the secret?
I think it ties into the fact that you have to have a self-respect, a self-love. That's an important thing. You have to realize that God gave you this thing, this body, one body,
Right.
and it's a gift to be born. Listen. There are bazillions upon zillions of sperms that have gone down the drain. They were not given the opportunity, but for whatever reason, I was given an opportunity to be here. So for me, the fact that I can be here, that I can move, I can walk, I can see, I can talk, I can hear, I want to make sure that I keep it all working, because if you take care of yourself while you're younger, throughout your life as a good habit, because we're creatures of habit,
Right.
whether they're good habits or bad habits is going to dictate how your life goes and where you go and the quality of the life that you have. And that goes with a psychological perspective, it goes with an intellectual perspective, a spiritual perspective. It covers every ground. And if you understand that, and you're grateful for the fact that you can, again, starting with the fact that I could hear. Everything I have, I'm going to just appreciate and do the best I can not to abuse.
Right.
I'm going to utilize food as a fuel. So keep it minimal, enjoy the best quality. I'm not going to feed myself sugars and starches and garbage and that are going to work and harm me. I'm going to do the best I can with what God and nature has shown us to be good to take care of myself.
Right.
And of course, I'm going to put in the time. I'm going to put in the time. You got to put time in. You got to be committed. You got to be accountable for what's going on.
So true.
And if you want to be responsible, now listen, if I want to blame somebody else for the fact that they laid food out and I ate all the food, well, then I'll be a fool, like so many people that are going to find fault
Yeah.
in everything else as opposed to being accountable for where they are.
Right.
So if you're accountable and you're responsible and you're real, you're going to take your life seriously.
For sure.
You're not going to blame anyone for anything.
For sure. When I first started getting into the Bible, I read that your body is the temple of God. That kind of like blew my mind, and it gave me a whole different perspective of, wow, like I do need to take care of this. I do need to cherish this one and only body that
Yep.
is giving me the opportunity to create and do whatever it is that I can do here in this short amount of time on Earth.
Yeah, and it's
through
short.
this experience.
And it's
Absolutely,
really
it's short. Everybody I talk to that's older, they're like, enjoy life because it flies by. You don't even realize how fast it flies by.
Yeah, yeah.
I want one more question on these topics about, on the ride home after dinner last night. You asked young Harry a specific question, and I would love for you to ask the audience the question, and then you can answer it in terms of how you did it on the car ride last night.
Yeah. Well, that's an interesting philosophical perspective about people and their attitude about life and their shortcomings and shortfalls, and the fact that there are people that are better, there are people that are more gifted, there are people that are more intelligent, people that are more handsome, people that are taller, stronger, quicker, wiser. There's always going to be in life the situation where there is a comparison. There's always the man with the bigger boat. There's always the man with the faster car or woman. Don't want to be gender specific. There's always going to be the guy that's taller. There's always going to be the guy that's faster, someone stronger. There's always going to be someone that was there before, had the opportunity. There's always going to be so many things that looked upon the wrong way could be discouraging to you. So in line with the points made that just appreciating who you are and what you are is the gift, you want to kind of level the playing field. And it's not an equity, diversity, a DIE kind of thing I'm talking about. This is about understanding that we as individuals, we are not more than we are. And people may say, well, what do you mean by that? You're not. The fact is, how many people can speak, we talked about it yesterday, Swahili, Ugandese, Schweizerdeutsch, German, French, Italian, Spanish, Portuguese. There's infinite languages, and if they're limited to thousands, I barely know English.
Right.
For all the words there are in English, perhaps there's millions of words and conjugations of all the verbs and nouns and adverbs and pronouns. I know very little about the expanding universe. We talked about Einstein's capacity, or Hawkins, intellectuality, or Elon Musk. There is so many people that know so much, but even with respect to those brilliant minds, they know nothing relative to that which has been known, that which has been.
Right.
They know nothing. No man, no woman, no person ever born, perhaps aside from God or Jesus, knows about everything. They know very little about everything. So for those that are meek, or feeble-minded with respect to their own self-image and self-respect, you're no different than anyone else in the fact that no matter who you meet, with all the cars, with all the boats, with all the money, with all the possessions, with all the looks, with all everything that God could give you, that person, if he took all the knowledge he has and multiplied it times 10 billion, times 100 trillion, would still know nothing relative to what there is to know.
Right. So true.
So as far as understanding that point of perspective, you say, well, what's the point of that? I mean, it sounds nihilistic. It sounds negative. No, it's not. It's the fact that you as an individual, when you meet anybody, you meet anyone for any circumstance, and they have all this, they may have that. That's one spoke, on the 10 zillion spokes of life and knowledge. It's one spoke. And so if they've captured or found a way to make something work for them, don't let that discourage who you are because you don't have that.
Right.
Because no matter what you think somebody has, it means nothing relative to the fact that there's so much that they don't have, and we all don't have. So don't look at anyone or any circumstances being insurmountably, unfathomably difficult to overcome. Because the truth of the matter is, we all don't know very much about very much.
So true.
Even if you know just a little bit. But one unique factor about that whole point, in spite of the fact that we know very little, and we're just pusillanimous, small creatures, in this universe that moves around, there's an interesting fact that in the stars, of all the grains of sand, of all the leaves that have ever been, and blades of grass that have ever been, and all the molecules that have ever been and are and will be, there's only one of you and one of me and one of every individual, which puts us in a category that all the knowledge in the world can't compete with. The uniqueness of that one factor, that one being, you as a being, have. And within the understanding of the fact that you know very little relative to that which is there to be known, the fact that you are so unique, the only thing, the only creature like yourself that has ever been, that was before, is now, and ever will be, only one of you. So you take the pride and understanding of the fact that, hey, you know what? I can't be like that. I'm not as smart as that. I'm not as tall as this. I don't know so much, but I know that I'm going to uniquely be who I am. And so then you owe it to yourself to do the best you can to maximize that unique creature and be the best person you can be relative to you. Don't impersonate. Don't imitate. You want to emulate and appreciate honor and character and codes of wisdom and ethics. It's all fine. But be who you are. Be what you are. And with that, you can hold your shoulders back knowing that in spite of the fact of what I'm not, I know that I am uniquely me. And I was given a life. And with that, I can be. It's an interesting line. I think, therefore I am. It was a Rene Descartes point way, way back. And there was an illustration given that is used a lot of times with respect to if a tree falls in the forest and no one's there to hear it, does it make a sound? Now, what would be the answer to the question? Does it make a sound?
I would say yes.
But if sound is that which is heard and no one's there to hear it, is it still making a sound?
I would say yes, because I know if something falls and hits the ground, it is going to make a sound. But I don't personally hear it.
But this is the fact. This is the point. You could say that physiological, a tree cracking, moving through the air, the leaves rustling through the air, makes a whooshing sound as the wood crashes on the ground. There's snapping and crushing of wood. So perhaps it does. Okay, but metaphysically, intellectually, the point of it is that if it made a sound or didn't make a sound, it's irrelevant if no one heard it because it was never seen, experienced. And that comes along with the fact of understanding that potential if you have greatness within you, which we all do, and you have the right attitude, appreciating the uniqueness that is given to you, but do very little with it, it's unimportant if you were the biggest, greatest genius that ever existed.
Right.
Because you never did anything with it. So along with the fact that you know very little, of course, the opposite coin of that perspective is that doing very little with that which is given to you is the greatest waste.
So true.
So have an appreciation for who you are, not worrying about what you're not, because we all are not.
Right.
So don't let that which is not guide you. Let that which is your attitude and belief and appreciation for who you are, move you.
Right.
And if you do that, listen, even a dead fish floats downstream, but not on its own. Not on its own.
Right.
So you can be part of everybody else who's moving along, but if you don't have that self-determination to realize and recognize that you were given the ability to maneuver and move and get through life because of your own intellectual capacity, then you really don't have anything. So if you have all this potential within you and don't utilize it, you're like a tree that falls in the forest. It's never heard.
I love how you brought that full circle. We all have gifts, and we all have greatness inside of us, and we all have a purpose. And it's true. It's true. I've discovered it. It took me a long time, and I'm still daily discovering it. Like, the greatest asset that I have is truly who I am as an individual. It is my own unique gifts. It is me. It is who I am. And a lot of people don't know who it is that they are because they allow the outside world and society to put on them that which is what they're not, but that which is what society wants them to be and to, operate and maneuver as, which is just a pawn in the system. But God has a way bigger plan for you. And, when you can discover that and tap in, you are going to want to pursue the best version of yourself. You're going to want to allow your gifts to expand and open up like a flower so that your personal essence blossoms, and then you provide that value and your gift to the world, and then that's what really makes the world go around and create a brighter spot.
Yep, that's right.
You definitely have a lot of wisdom, Jim, and I appreciate that.
And listen, thank you. But listen, the wisdom I have, again, we talked about it.
Yeah.
For as much as you think you have and
Right.
it's just a speck. However, I feel good about what I do.
Yeah.
I feel good about understanding the unlimited limitations that we have. I got that. However, that's not important because we all are playing in that arena with the same limitations.
Right.
Give or take. Some people have a little bit more here, a little bit more there, a little less there. That's unimportant. It's really about, because within your uniqueness, you can maneuver and make your own place. Because no one is you.
That's right. So true.
Nobody in the world is you, and you can do you better than anybody can do you. And you cannot do anyone else as well as you could do you. So be you and do you, and you'll be fine. Don't compare. You can use it as an illustration, as a benchmark to say, this car is faster than that car. Yes, I got that. But those are things.
Right.
When it comes to you, be the best you can be, because people will love you and appreciate you and recognize you for the fact that you're real. And that's special in this world of
authenticity.
the Siracina. Are you familiar with the term Siracina?
No. I know nothing.
Well, I don't either, but I happen to have. Siracina they used to use it in the old Greek and Romans when they would do pottery. Mm-hmm. And when you do pottery, there's an occasion where the pottery cracks, or there are fine hairline fissures in the pottery. And then there were those that were real specialists and artisans, and that would be they would classify that Siracina, which meant no wax, because they would fill in the cracks and the frailty with wax to hide the imperfections of the pottery. But in time and in use, the wax would melt, the wax would deform, and it would not have the integral value or quality of that which didn't have wax. And there are people that make themselves up, pretend to be something that they're not, pretend to be somebody they wish they were, instead of just investing in themselves.
Right.
All right? And they're not going to be considered the Siracina, those without wax. Those people are fake people. So Siracina is so important in a perspective, meaning that I'm real. It's what you see is what you get, and what you get is the best I can give you.
I love it.
And I'll try to do better. And sometimes I will, and sometimes I won't. But I'm going to always have that right attitude and appreciation.
Yeah, and that's how you're going to attract the right people in your life, because those who are going to appreciate who it is that you are, those are the people that you want in your actual life. When you walk through this life trying to pretend to be somebody that you're actually not, it's unauthentic, and that's how I think the wrong people come into your life to take advantage of you, or maybe, I don't know how it works, but it's just not going to be the driven path that maybe God had laid for you.
Yeah.
You said a line in the car on the way to dinner last night, which was beautiful. Keep your feet.
Well, always. I mean, that comes from the great.
Say the line. Tell the people the line.
The great Romans
Yeah.
and the great Greeks. And if you have your feet planted in the ground and your eyes and your mind in the stars, you'll always be tethered, but you'll always be dreaming. Like Einstein said, imagination rules the world. What you can imagine, you can become. And the idea about that is that don't let limitations limit who you are. Just let the fact of time running out limit what you are, because we all have just limited time.
Yeah.
So you always want to be a person that can dream and imagine and believe that it can be, as opposed to those that can't. And of course, but still always be anchored so that you live in reality.
Right.
With the I want to be rich. Okay, so now what's the plan? What are you going to do about that? Okay, great. I want to change my situation. Okay, so what are you going to read? Who are you going to talk to? Who's going to advise you? How are you going to inquire and investigate that which has been necessary to improve the situation you're in? Or unless you want to sit back and expect someone to give you something. Then we're back to that entitled mentality.
Right.
I'm going to listen, you didn't help me, therefore I am who I am. That's hogwash. You weren't motivated enough and didn't believe. The most important thing to understand is that if you got your stuff in order and you look in the mirror, you should look in the mirror and say, how fortunate I am to be able to see myself. I can see myself. I can see my smile. I can see that I can. And I'm going to do the best I can to appreciate that and not fault anyone for what I'm not. Because truly it's on me to be the best I can be.
Self-accountability.
That's reality. And that's reality.
I love that. This is, the purpose of these interviews is to give you guys, keys to success and business habits and characteristics to live a fulfilling, happy, successful life. I love what I do and having the opportunity to build these type of relationships. And this is coming at you from a different perspective. Jim is letting you guys into like his mindset and his attitude and the way he perceives life, which is a big reason for why he has the life that he has and has been able to live the life that he has. And he has the same people that have worked for him for 40, 50 years in business because of who he is and the way he treats other people. And that's an extremely important thing, and it's a beautiful thing. And I would love for you to just kind of talk about, you've had a successful business, and what does it take to build and, run a successful business and have over 200 employees work for you,
Yeah. Well, being successful in business, there are some mechanical realities about business, as you understand. You should understand the true. Firstly, you have to have the vision. You got to have a vision and a belief that you deserve to have that which you can see and hear and understand. You deserve to have that if you qualify and you're willing to put the time in and work hard and do it. It requires a great deal of character, knowledge, investigation, study, difficult times, sweat equity. There's so many lines. But the most important factor of all of this, truly, to have anything, is you got to believe that you deserve to have it and that you can have it. Because if you don't believe you can have it, if you don't see yourself having it or accomplishing a particular thing, you're not even going to try.
Right.
You're not even going to pursue it. So the most important thing is to believe that. And how you can get that belief is by being appreciative of the fact that you're here. If you do that, there's an unlimited well of gratitude that emerges from your character every day you open your eyes. So once you do that, now you got the basis, you got the fuel in the tank. Then it's a matter of what direction you want to go in. That's why people go to school. They go to school to learn all specific fields of endeavor and occupations that are out there. Not to necessarily find out what you don't like, but it's to find out of all the things that you've done, what is that one thing or that category of things that move me, that inspire me. Because when you find that, that's when you stop working. With respect to the fact that it's a labor of love and passion. It's not something that you're doing that you have to do, you don't want to do. Because in reality, to get to that place, you have to do certain realities. You got to endure difficulties, tribulations and difficulties. That's part of it. You cannot get through the mountain to find the diamond without toil and getting your hands dirty and splintered and breaking bones. It's part of the game. But that's, if your attitude is that life is for me, then while you're doing that, you're grateful. So you just it keeps feeding
I
itself.
love it.
And then at that
Connecting it all.
particular point, you got to know what's happening in a specific area. You got to know what it is. All right. Then you got to find the need and then fill the need. And once you find the need and fill the need, now you know that there's something there. There's something with the mechanics, something with the marketing, something with the environment that says, you know what, this has a value. You know, proof of concept. You hear it all the time. So, learning your field, studying your field. For me, it was sales. I got involved in sales. So I learned through Zig Ziglar, Dennis Waitley, Robert Schuller, Dale Carnegie, W. Clement Stone, J. Douglas Edwards, Tom Hopkins, Anthony Robbins, Les Brown. And then, of course, in the Bible, the principles of the Bible, of what is the way to navigate, what tools do I need to do this? And then you study that to master who you are to the best of your capacity. Understanding how to approach situations and how to think things through, controlling your emotions, understanding that love in your heart factor, always being grateful. Then so you learn the business. You learn how to sell that product. Okay, now you learn how to sell that product. Well, I learned how to sell it. I'm going to go out and start a business. No, you're not. Not yet. You have to know how to sell it. You have to know how to service it. You have to learn how to finance it. You have to learn how to market it. You have to learn how to do quality control to make sure it's right. You got to learn how to deliver it. You got to know how to do the financing to make that whole thing work. Then you have to make sure you know how to make sure that you can train it to teach people to do it, so that you as an individual can then magnify who you are and what you are, so that at that particular point you can say, I have something that we put together through all the help and all the knowledge of every factor, from the buying, the selling, the purchasing, identifying what it is that makes it special, that keeps you from going on wild goose chases. You know, so you don't just, oh, I'm going to do this. Like a lot of people are Pollyannic about everything. I'm going to start a company. Well, do you know anything about it? Not really, but I'll read. That's a start. But then there's a reality about it. You got to learn how to do it. You got to understand that it's viable.
Right.
It makes sense. There's a good profit margin in there. But then you got to learn all the factors about it. You know, again, how to service, how to find it, how to market it, how to deliver the product. You know, how to make sure that it's serviced and how you can warranty the product. All the factors surrounding that must be covered. So when you start the business, it's not, I started the company, but I didn't really know how to do it. I couldn't get it delivered. I couldn't find people. I got burned out. I tried to do it all myself. And yes, because that's not the way to approach it. It's
Right.
an attitude of investigating all factors of it. And then, of course, most important thing to remember is to get it done. Is once begun, is half done. And the reason for that is that if you're a man of character, a person of character, you're going to make sure that you got all your ducks in a row before you commence or begin a project. And then learn how to do it to the end. And then be committed to a sense of character, integrity, and fair play. Because if it doesn't benefit somebody, it's certainly not going to benefit you. And if it doesn't make sense, it's not going to make dollars. All right? And if it doesn't benefit people continually, the need for that product is going to dwindle.
Love it.
And then, of course, you're going to be exposed that you were a fraud.
You guys are gonna have to watch this more than one time. It's a lot of gold, a lot of golden nuggets in this, a lot of good stuff.
Yeah,
I appreciate
life.
this.
It's
Yeah.
life.
Real quick, I know you're heavy invested in real estate. Real estate's been a big part of your portfolio. Just what are your top 3 things about why you love investing in real estate?
Well, I like investing in anything that's going to make money and benefit somebody, frankly.
For sure.
Real estate has been good.
Uh-huh.
It's been a great thing. I've seen it. My father, years ago, a bright guy, a street savvy guy from Manhattan, had a floor covering place. And I remember years and years ago, my Uncle Joe, who was a little more conservative, his brother, they were in business together. And they bought an apartment building, brownstone in Manhattan, 79th Street and Amsterdam Avenue. But they loved their cars. And they would buy a Riviera 64, LeSabre next year, Electra 225, Cadillac, Sedan DeVille, Coupe DeVilles, and Lincolns. and they buy cars, and the cars then with 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, and of course, they were worth nothing. They were all disposal cars. And I remember my dad saying when I was younger, goodness gracious, if I just bought, I could have bought a brownstone for 15,000, and but I bought a car instead for 5. And I could have bought a brownstone for 15, 30,000, 25,000, and I would hear this.
Mm-hmm.
So as I grew older and was generating money, working in the sales field, I said, I recognize the fact that all these properties we're talking about that were 15,000 were now 100,000, 200,000. So at a young age, whenever I had extra money, I would find a property, buy that property, and leverage a little bit. When you don't have, leveraging is smart, but if you over leverage, of course, you get crushed like a lot of people.
Right.
Okay, because you don't have the means to cover yourself if things fall out. So I watched my leverage, and I just kind of bought everything that I could afford reasonably. Take out a loan here on a property and buy another property, pay that property off, buy another property, sell that property, pay everything off, buy another property. And today I have this. There are people have thousands and thousands, and I have properties all around that I bought right, that I own outright, which was most important.
Right.
But I saw the opportunity in that a long, long time ago. I saw the benefit financially in that passive income, collecting money, as well as it appreciating, and so that's been a real strong asset. Because the reality is, you can hold on to it. Stocks. I played in the stock market during the Hunt silver issue, and silver went up to $70 an ounce. And when I went to sell, it was frozen at 50, and I lost. I only lost $7,000, but it was $7,000 was everything I had.
Yeah.
But I realized that I was not in control of that game. So I tend to avoid that which I have no control over.
I like that.
And if you're not familiar with a specific area, don't be fooled and beguiled by all the promises. Because in most cases, in many, many cases, people are looking just to get your money because they'll churn that money and take it and spend it for the commission of it, and not really being concerned about whether or not that investment was right. So I kind of stay in the safe lane, well, to an extent. I dabbled in the oil business and made a lot of money and lost probably almost as much as I made.
Wow.
But I'm still making money with it today, so
sure.
I did okay. So I have a little bit of a gambler in me, but I felt I kind of had that in control. But I always, listen, when you have and you've done well with your family, with your children, and all the people that you consider your extraneous family around that, and done well with that, and God has blessed you with a lot, whether it be a lot of wisdom or good fortune, because of hard work and good execution, you just got to count your blessings, but you just got to recognize that you're going to have your issues. You're going to have the times that are going to be difficult. But if you, as an individual, has amassed enough money or enough wealth that you can put aside a little bit, not enough that it's going to hurt anything that is working, but you have a little extra. That little extra is yours to do what you like with. And thus I did that with cars.
Right.
I bought a car here, bought a car there, bought a car here. And listen, I just not using the numbers as being exactly accurate. Things tend to work out always if you're always playing. You're in the game. I lost $1 million, let's say hypothetically, in an oil well that went south in Louisiana. $1 million, cash. I don't mean play money, but it was money that I felt would be valuable and give me a good return. It was one of the biggest hits in Louisiana, and we hit water after 1,000 barrels a day.
Wow.
And it hit water, and then it almost exploded, and we had to shut it down, and it was a rough one. And it was like, hey man, that was a loss, man, because you were doing 1,000 barrels a day, I owned 6% of that well. It was extraordinary money to me, and my family. But that went south, and it was that kind of it was like a kick. Again, I didn't depend on that. It was play money in a certain sense. I don't mean that it's to be disrespectful. I can't compete with that. those turbans are too big. But it was play money to the sense that it was money that I could afford to play with. I would not leverage my houses or
Right.
leverage my cars or my investments or my money. But it was money that I felt was my investment play money in a sense. All right, I'm using that word
For sure, to
play
be in the game,
loosely.
to try to, yeah.
So that went south. I lost that, and it was a gamble. It was a gamble, and I played the game, and it went bad. But strangely enough, 2000, that happened in 2013, 14. I had a couple of cars that I had bought back in 96, 94. That were now worth $1.5 million.
Yeah.
That if I didn't buy those, I wouldn't have had that. Now, is it divine providence? Did something kick in? Who knows? But I was in the game then, and it covered me, and the loss I had, I made back, and then who knows how many million I made from those games.
Right.
At that point forward, doing cars, who knows how many millions. But it was just an opportunity of taking advantage of the opportunity when it was there. And they say, about luck is really preparedness and being there will put you in a very lucky state.
You have to
Being
be in the
prepared, and then being there. It's just like that, that story about what a great catch. The linebacker, or the tight end or whomever has studied patterns upon patterns, has exercised, he's in top shelf condition. He can breathe well. He's not exhausted. He's given a plan. He runs that plan, and he reaches up with his hands, and the ball drops in. It's like, how could that be? How many hours, how many months, how many years has he been planning for that one situation to happen? And he then just reaches his hands up, and the ball is in his hands. Because everybody that was involved in that practiced and believed and studied. So it came down to this meritocracy that makes America great. It's not about diversity and equity and inclusion, of outcome. If you're better, you should deserve to be there. You earn that place.
Love that. Love
right?
that.
And so are you lucky? Are you lucky because you were able to catch that ball? Yeah, there was the degree of the factors. You were prepared, and you were there.
Yeah.
You didn't call out sick that day.
Right.
You were ready. You were in shape. You didn't have an injury, and then you made it happen, and it all happened to you. So it's divine providence in the sense that you prepared your life in a certain way, and certain results will come of that kind of preparation.
Yeah. You put in the work, you're deserving of it. It will come in due time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And listen, again, you don't see DEI, DIE, whatever it is. I give it very little respect. In sports, you don't see all of a sudden on the hockey. You see mostly people that are white or Caucasians in hockey. Now, could a black man play? Of course he could, if he's good. You don't see a lot of short white guys playing in the NBA.
Right.
Could he play? Yeah, sure. Jerry West played. There are many people that can play. If you're good enough, it has nothing to do with your color, your race, your creed, the language you speak. It has to do with your capacity to perform, in a reasonable and an excellent fashion.
I love
And
that.
that's what should be rewarded.
That's right.
And should men be playing in women's sports, being that we're talking on that? Absolutely not. You can play your own.
That's right.
Open up your own, do your own league of, identity crosses. But it's interesting.
Yeah.
We only find men playing in fields that they can dominate.
Yeah.
You don't see women playing
No.
men's sports as far as
Not at all.
football. You don't see women trying to box
Yeah.
Tyson.
Any man.
You don't see that. But you
Yeah.
see men moving it over. Therefore, listen, if it's good for the one, it's good for the all, and it's not fair, so it's horseshit.
Love it.
I'm sorry.
No,
to
you can
use
cuss
it.
all you want. I love it. It's
But that's the reality
No.
of that matter. That's
100%.
nonsense. Listen, I'm not telling you can't play. No one's saying that you cannot play. You don't have the forum to play. You can, but play your own.
right.
You have no right as a man, stronger, bigger, different structure, different hormones, the whole thing. It's not made that way. We're not made that way.
Right.
There are men and there are women.
Love that.
And there are those that are confused, that are in between.
Yeah.
That's all.
Put them in their own category.
That's right. You can do anything you like.
Love that.
But don't encroach upon the rights of someone else.
Yeah.
It's not fair.
So
Anyway,
true.
Just as a sidebar.
No, so true, and I think most of America can agree with you. And obviously our country is in some type of turmoil, whatever you want to call it. But With
the reason for that, just I don't mean to cut you short,
No.
is that it's a lack of leadership. When you have a lack of love and respect for God, number one, those are the rules, and you lack of respect for yourself and don't identify with respect to the fact that you understand who you are, and you don't fear what's right from wrong. When feelings are more important than facts, that's misguided leadership. Misguided leadership. You don't have someone standing up against the school board saying, listen, why would I have to kowtow to a bunch of students that don't know anything? When reality is, I know better than that, and that you should just know your place.
Right.
I'm not going to change the rules of what's right because your feelings are going to be hurt.
Yeah.
Get over it.
Fuck your feelings.
Get over it. I mean, listen, there are men and women, and everything else in between is in between. You can identify as a goat. It doesn't make a difference to me.
Yeah.
However, you're not going to be able to shit in my living room.
That's right.
It's not going to be
No,
wrong. There's a right and
wrong,
wrong.
yeah.
And there is in the truth in life, there is a right and a wrong.
Right.
Once we abandon right from wrong, the rules, listen, there is white, there's black, there are diamonds, there are rubies, there's gold, there's silver. They're all different things. And they exist. Once you start to conflate that nothing means anything any longer,
Yeah.
well, then it's a lack of leadership. And what you have today with this administration is a severe lack of leadership.
For sure.
And sensibility.
Yeah.
And accountability. And responsibility.
So
when you have people denying what you see on TV, and they deny it as if it just happened today when you watch debates, as if they never saw that, they never knew it existed. You know there's an undercurrent here that is not good, not healthy.
Right. No, it's so true. That's why we need you to pursue the best version of yourself, and you know, the world needs leaders. Why not you? I love that. I was going to ask you for your closing words on your message to like America and our country, but I think you just nailed it right on the head with those words. My man, I appreciate it so much. I love you so much,
love you, my man. You're the best.
Yeah, you're the greatest,
Thank
man.
you.
Hey, appreciate you so much. Thank
It's
you.
great for the opportunity
Yeah, absolutely.
to share in anything that
Yeah.
we have, and we have so much.
You provide a lot of wisdom and gold, and you know, I appreciate our friendship so
And I
much.
just hope that we can continue on today. Matter of fact, I know we're going to continue on
Oh, yeah.
today, and it's going to be a great day.
Absolutely. It's
So
just,
keep that video going.
oh yeah, it's gonna. You guys are on for more, baby. Round 2 coming at you.